Robin, I know you're upset, but this is not an appropriate way to blow off steam. You should have joined a young men's basketball league or taken up model kit building. For your own good. When we get home, you're grounded.
Not if I put you in the ground first.
Robin, old chum, what's happened?
Batman, stay away! Ah! How's that for a sidekick, old chum? Batman, look out!
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mark Tiberius Lemke, Chicago Blackhawks fan. This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, and you can help support the Batman Universe by heading over to patreon.com/thebatmanuniverse. You're on episode 144. My name is Tim, and as always, I am joined by Dane. Dane, how's it going?
It's going good. You know, we're glad that we can get two in a row without having to take a break, or Tim isn't on, or I'm not on, or, whatever.
I know, sad to say how recently it's been. This is a good streak for us.
Yeah, no,
2 weeks or 2 episodes in a row.
Yeah, can you believe it? 2 in a row, Tim.
Let's see if we can make it 3.
Don't jinx us, Tim.
That's true. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah, so I'm doing okay, but I remember on our last episode that was Game 7 of the ALCS with the Yankees and Astros, and
right.
Now the baseball season's over and the Astros are world champions. So I think you can probably take a guess of how Game 7 of the ALCS went.
Yeah, it didn't go good for you, Tim, but
no, it didn't.
It was a great World Series. Went 7 games.
That it was.
Always like to see World Series go to 7 games unless the A's are in it, which they're never going to be in.
Yeah, I sent the tweet out for the ALCS Game 7. Like, Game 7s are the best things in baseball unless your team is in it. Yeah. And they had a 3-2 lead or a 3-1 lead or something like that. Then it's the worst thing ever because you're on the brink of blowing it.
Yeah, and I can't believe this is the first Astros World Series win. I could have swore they've won one before.
No, they've been in a World Series once before, back in 2005, but they never won it.
That's what I'm thinking about. And who did they lose to in 2005?
The White Sox.
Oh, the White Sox. Oh, I mean, I could have swore that I've seen the Astros in a World Series, and I guess that was it. I just told myself that they won it.
Yeah, they got swept, too, in that series, so it wasn't a memorable one for them.
Well, they did good this series. I have to ask you, if you're Dave Roberts in Game 7, and Darvish gives up, what was it, like 2 or 3 runs?
Give up 2 in the first.
Yeah, 2. Do you pull him after that?
Yeah, I would have see how he did in the second inning, but as soon as someone else got on, if it was a hard hit ball or something, I would have got him out of there. I definitely wouldn't have left him in to give up that home run to George Springer, which, pretty much ended the game right there, even though it was the second inning. But
who would you have put in?
Yeah, if someone was on, I think he made the right move as far as bringing in one of his, bullpen relievers to get out of an inning with runners on. But then after that, I would have done what he did, put Kershaw in to eat up those innings, which worked, but unfortunately, they're already down 5-0. So,
yeah,
if Kershaw could have pitched that good in Game 5, then Dave Dodgers would have won that series. But he spit the bit in that one. 4-0 lead, couldn't hold that. Then he got a 7-4 lead, couldn't hold that.
Well, at least I can say, this is coming from an A's fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks seeing another team win the World Series, but I'm so glad that Josh Reddick got a World Series.
Yeah, that was the good thing about the Astros winning. There were some players I was happy to see get rings.
Yeah.
Like Beltran and McCann who are on the Yankees, but Beltran has been, almost like a 20-year veteran now. To finally get a World Series ring is good. And then Verlander, too, being such a great pitcher, and now he finally has a ring. So
yeah, this is his 3rd World Series, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other 2, if I'm not mistaken, they got swept.
They didn't get swept. They lost 4-1 in both series, I believe. Yeah, to the Cardinals and the Giants.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see Josh Reddick get a ring finally. Too bad he couldn't do it with the A's, but the A's are far away from where the Astros and even the Dodgers are. So it's great to see.
Yeah, well, at least you got a little consolation there seeing a former A get a ring, even though he did nothing in the series. He was like 1 for 20 or something like that.
But still, Tim.
Yeah.
But still.
Sorry to rain on your parade. Your very small Oakland parade.
And Rich Hill making it to a World Series relief pitcher.
Yeah, and he pitched good too.
Yeah.
If anything, he got taken out too soon, which cost the Dodgers in Game 2.
And I think Morrow was an A at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I just making that up?
Yeah, that I'm not sure on.
Brandon Morrow.
Wouldn't surprise me. A lot of people go through Oakland and then make it to better teams.
I know the amount of people that go through Oakland and then end up winning World Series is unbelievable.
Yeah. Poor Oakland.
Yeah. I don't know why they can't hold on to these guys. I mean, was Josh Reddick really that much of a asset?
I forget how much he made at free agency, but he did, score a pretty big payday. So I think more than what Oakland probably would have paid for him. So
oh, yeah, totally. And I know they had zero plans on keeping him.
Yeah.
The beginning of last season, was it? Yeah, last season.
Yeah, he got traded the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, it was the beginning of last season. And then I think they didn't even negotiate. It was more like we can't afford you. So
yeah, like just play with us for a little bit, and then we'll probably trade you. So.
Yeah, and in fact, I think it was even in spring training. I think they told him, "Yeah, we can't. I mean, you're way beyond our budget."
Yeah, sad to say.
Yeah, unfortunately.
At least on the Yankee side, I mean, disappointing they didn't make it to the World Series, but it was still such a great season for them, surpassing everyone's expectations of how far they would make it. I mean, if they were fighting for a second wild card spot, that would have been a successful season for them. So for them to make it to Game 7 of the ALCS was great, and the future is definitely bright for them. So I'm excited for next year.
Really, even though they let Girardi go.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, he did a good job with this team. Like I said, surpassing expectations, and even when they didn't make the playoffs, they still had a winning record and were better than what they should have been. So I can understand being there 10 years and the Yankees wanting a new voice in the clubhouse. But at the same time, he didn't do nothing wrong as far as to warrant him not coming back, except for that not challenging that replay call in the Cleveland series. But they won that series, so they can't hang that on him too much. But
so why did they let him go? Just because he wasn't meeting their expectations?
Yeah, it's kind of where they want a new voice in the clubhouse, someone who can, I think, connect a little better with the younger players. I think they're going to want a younger manager.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, I'm really curious to see who they're going to get. Yeah, it might even be like a first-time manager type thing.
Who could they get? I mean, is it like outside of the Yankee system sort of thing? Or is it going to be
it's either going to be them promoting someone from within or getting like a former Major League Baseball player to be a first-time manager. Like some of the names I'm hearing are Raul Ibanez, who was on the Yankees in 2012, and Jerry Hairston Jr., who was on them in 2009. So those are the names that are being rumored about right now. So I'm kind of hoping it is someone that was an ex-player and then who comes in instead of, just promoting someone. I mean, it would be good to see someone from, their minor league system or within the organization move up ranks, but I kind of like it when it's a former player who becomes a manager.
Joba Chamberlain.
Oh, man.
He just retired, right?
He did.
Still young.
He is young.
Didn't he have at one point he had like a 14 ERA as a
I think it was
pitcher?
I think it was in like the 20s in the playoffs. No, wasn't it in the hundreds, wasn't it?
What?
I think we were joking around about that back in the playoffs when he was with the Tigers, and he just came in and gave up tons of runs.
Yeah.
And like couldn't get one out, so it was like ERA jumped to 100 or something like that.
How does that happen? Is that just the sample problem? Like he didn't have enough appearances?
I think he did too. It was just a bad stretch that he was in during that playoff run, and it cost them. Big time.
That sounds like he gave away a grand slam every single appearance.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
It's like when you give up 4 or 5 runs and can't get anyone out, like that's gonna jump your ERA quite a lot.
Well, at least he had a long career. I don't know how he had a long career, but
it should have been longer with how good he was when he burst on the scene 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But this goes to show you how hard this game could be. Even though you have good stuff at one point, it could go away like that.
I wonder if he retired because he only got a minor league contract, or he didn't get any contracts at all.
I don't think he got any, or he got minor league contracts this year, but didn't go anywhere. Like he never pitched in the big leagues this year, so he probably just figured, it's probably it.
Yeah,
probably not going to go. Don't want to go through that again, so might as well just retire.
Oh, and you know what I was going to talk to you about, Tim? What happened to the Orioles? Remember, back a couple of years ago, they were contenders for the ALCS, ALDS, the World Series.
Well, they were actually contenders for the first 3 months of the season, but then their pitching fell apart. Like they pretty much had the worst starters ERA in all of the American League. So
wow, worse than the A's?
Did them in.
Worse than the A's?
I'm not sure. I know it's one of the worst. I don't know if it's the worst, but they're on the bottom with starting pitching. It was really bad.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to them,
Yeah, they still got some good young players, position players, but their pitching, that needs a big overhaul.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. Well,
not for the Yankees.
Oh, yeah. Division.
Since they're in the same division.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a wrap on the 2017 baseball season. Congratulations to the Astros, but
yes,
enjoy it while you can. The Yankees are coming. But as always, I guess we can go ahead and get into our Dark Knight Rises minute-by-minute commentary to get the show rolling. So we're going to be on minute 93 to minute 94. So, as always, get your HD DVD player, your VHS player, your Betamax player, your Laserdisc player, your Netflix physical media disc, your Blockbuster video membership card.
Oh, Tim, did you see that thing I retweeted on the
Bat-Fans
that's right account?
Mm-hmm.
From apparently
they're still alive.
Blockbuster is huge in Alaska. Who would have thought? Because they don't have high speed internet, or it's not as accessible as it is. Mm-hmm. They rent movies, physical DVDs or Blu-rays from Blockbuster. Blockbuster is thriving in Alaska.
Thriving. Never thought I'd hear those words again. Blockbuster thriving.
I know. That completely blew my mind. They have merchandise there. I don't know if you watched the video, Tim, but they have.
No, I did. I just saw the tweet.
They have Blockbuster merchandise, T-shirts, grab bags, mugs, water bottles. They even send people replica Blockbuster cards. Remember the Blockbuster cards, Tim?
Oh, of course I do.
Yeah, they send replica Blockbuster cards.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And this place was packed. This Blockbuster was packed, Tim.
Did they say how many stores are there?
No. I'm sure it's more than one, because it looked pretty busy and people actually go there. So, yeah, Blockbuster's thriving in Alaska. It's so amazing, and I'm so happy that people are still enjoying Blockbuster.
It hasn't fully died yet. Maybe we should take it out of our dead media formats when watching The Dark Knight Rises. But,
well, for our Alaska listeners, if we have any.
Yeah, I guess we'll just say minus Alaska.
Yeah, minus Alaska.
In the future. There you go.
You know what I totally forgot about? not only did you have to return the tape on a certain day, but it was by a certain time too.
Yep, that's right.
I totally forgot about that because I guess somebody was checking out and they were like, okay, it's due next week Wednesday or whatever at 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that there was a time limit on that.
Mm-hmm. And for VHSs, you always had to make sure they were rewound.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get charged.
I believe so, yeah. Don't you miss those days?
Yes, I do. But every time I turn on my Blu-ray player, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm so with technology, because I don't have to rewind anything. I don't have to,
Yeah. It's still, as convenient as everything is now, it's still fun to look back at those old days of watching movies and videotapes and bringing them back and renting them. Yeah. Good times indeed.
Very, very good.
But anyway, let's go ahead and start the commentary. So, minute 93. I'll give the countdown, and we can begin in 3, 2, 1, play. As Paulo was saying, the neutron bomb is fully activated. I like where, Bane is talking to Paulo, but he's looking at himself on the screen, it seems like. On the big jumbotron, like making sure he looks good while he's doing this.
Yeah, and at first I didn't know how he got that mic, but but that's the referee's mic, right?
Yeah, I think you see him picking up as he's walking on the field.
Oh,
probably on the last minute.
Yeah, but where's the referee? I didn't see any.
Well, maybe he fell into the pit, but his headset fell off him. It was just landing there. It all worked out conveniently for Bane.
Yeah.
And we're not going to finish the end of his speech.
No, we're not. And is that cameraman still around? Is he shooting Bane? I mean, is he filming him, or is it the camera just on him? It just so happened to be on him.
That's the good question. Is it an automated camera? But through all the destruction that was happening, you think it'd get knocked out of whack or something? Yeah. It just happened to land on the spot where Bane wanted to give a speech. Yeah, see, Bane, everything worked out for Bane in this sequence here.
So. He got the mic, he got the camera,
yeah. See, more new perspective on The Dark Knight Rises we didn't have when we saw it the first time.
I mean, honestly, Tim, that's the point of this commentary, to go scene by scene, second by second, minute by minute, to find every single aspect.
And this is why it's worth it. All 93 minutes worth.
Oh, and speaking of it being worth it, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how I was texting you last night about Stranger Things 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was on what I think was the worst episode of Season 2, and probably Stranger Things as a whole.
Okay.
You see, now I'm thinking, because I don't want to spoil it, because you haven't seen it yet. I don't want to spoil it for you.
I wanted to watch it last weekend, but busy with stuff, and then I think the new Mario game came out, and I was playing that. Oh shoot, I don't have time to watch it. And then now I was going to watch it this weekend.
Yeah.
But then my mom sent me a text saying, "Hey, I want you I want to start watching Stranger Things. I know you've seen it." Okay, I'll rewatch the first season with you. So I'm going to rewatch the first season with her, and then probably go into season 2. So it might be a little bit before I finish the second season.
How is that Mario game?
No, it's really good. It's really, really good.
So it's a open world kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is kind of your typical Mario game. You travel to different worlds and kingdoms and collect, for it with stars, but this one it's moonshines, and so you just collect those stuff in each map and travel to the next one. But
so you collect those moons?
Yeah, there's tons. I think it's over 600 in the game.
Yeah, because I saw a tweet or something saying, or this article, this guy found 400 of those moons in one level.
Wow, one level? Dude, I didn't hear that.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's why everybody, I was reading the comments and everybody's saying, no, that's fake, that's, whatever.
Okay.
But, yeah, I didn't know what that was. And so it's a good game?
Oh, yeah, it's really fun. good. It's a good platformer game, which all Mario games are. Nintendo does it better than anyone else, and the graphics are really, really good. It's nice and colorful, and finally, it's good to play a Mario game in HD finally. So I just need more time to play it. Like I pretty much with anything now, I like play it a little bit, and then I get life continues on. I'm not able to play it as much as I want to, so I'd probably be a while before I beat it. But Battlefront 2 comes out in just 2 weeks, so I'm hoping I can get the main quest done before then, and then slowly collect stars or the moons like from here and there. But as long as I have the main quest completed.
So do you still have to jump on those mushroom guys, the Koopas?
Oh, of course, that's a staple of a Mario game.
Yeah.
But the big difference in this one, Mario's hat, you can throw it at pretty much almost any enemy and objects, and you take control of them. So you can take control of a Goomba, walk around as it, stack them up together to reach high places. So that's a lot of fun of the game, is taking control of different enemies and creatures that you see throughout the maps.
Yeah, you see, I haven't played a Mario game since not Super Mario, Mario 64.
Okay, which is still the best one in my opinion.
Yeah. So it's not a platformer anymore. It's more like an open world kind of. You control Mario and he goes around different levels. And is there like an ending to it? Like
there is.
Make your way to an ending.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's not like a Skyrim kind of thing.
No, it's not fully open world, but there's elements to it.
Yeah.
But it's a good mix of like the Mario 64 style and having more open worlds to it. But
Did they bring over that face thing that you could do with Mario?
like you mean the menu for the 64 one?
Yeah, where you can make different faces on it.
Yeah, no, I wish they did. But well, I guess it's kind of good to have that be a unique thing for the N64 game. Because that was fun too.
Yes. Oh, so did you play the Metroid?
The last
new Metroid?
They said there's one in development, and they just released a new one for the 3DS, but I haven't played that one. It's been a while since there's been a new console Metroid game.
Oh, I thought it was a new one. I thought it was like for the not the Wii U. What is it?
The Switch?
Yeah, the Switch. I don't know. I completely forgot about the new platform, but it seems like the Switch is going to be the new Wii U, or it's not so much like a PlayStation or an Xbox as much as they wanted it to be, but it's going to be like the Marios, the Zeldas, just like the Wii U is going to be with sort of like all right ports of popular games.
Mm-hmm. No,
yeah,
I agree. But at the same time, that's pretty much what everyone who buys the Nintendo systems want it for, the first party games. So there are more third party games, that's good, but at the same time you really just want the first party games to be the best that are on the system, and so far they're doing really good with that with Zelda and Mario. So hopefully it continues. But
wouldn't you want to play Mass Effect on your Switch?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a new Mass Effect game for a while, but I know what you mean.
They're probably going to hold off on that.
Yeah, I still got to play the new one, Andromeda. Kind of all the negative feedback I've heard about it.
It gets
kind of made me less enthusiastic about to start it right away.
It gets real boring after a while.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, it's not so much like you got to save the universe. It's more like you have to do this small science project sort of thing,
Wow.
and when the game first came out, I bought it, and there were a lot of bugs in it.
That's what I've heard too. Yeah.
I don't care if it's a cinematic bug; I can look past that. But when it's part of the integral gameplay, like there are these puzzles which are like Sudoku puzzles.
Okay.
And if you didn't get it right the first time, it would, I guess, bug out or something. And then the only way you can complete it is if you had saved it before. If you had saved the game before you did the Sudoku puzzle, and then you would have to relaunch the game, go back to your save, and hopefully you got it right that second time. Otherwise, you'd have to do the whole thing over again.
Wow. Man, see, like that type of stuff is inexcusable to launch a game like that. I mean,
I mean, I think they solved that problem. I mean,
I would hope so by now.
At first, I thought it was me. Like I thought that you only got one chance at these things. It's for like some more, intelligence or, technology or whatever. At first, I thought it was me, but apparently it was a bug, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." So it would have been fine if it was just like a side thing, but it actually plays into parts of the missions, so it got irritating after a while.
I can imagine, man. Yeah, it's terrible that they let that go with it. But,
Yeah.
Mass Effect. I love those first 3 games. They're one of my favorite game series. So it was really disappointing to hear that about Andromeda.
And it looks like
it has fallen.
Yeah, it looks like EA, right? Or EA isn't going to do one for a while.
Yeah, I was like, so like they're putting it on hold for a bit.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, Stranger Things. 11 goes on a adventure.
Okay.
Yeah, away from the people in the show, and that wasn't very good. And I think that was what kind of like led me to be like, I'm not really sure about this show. Like, I'm not really sure about season 2, because at the time I just thought it was like, beyond the 80s references, the
like going a little overboard.
Yeah, going over with the 80s references.
Okay.
And like, if you take away that, what kind of story do we have? And there really isn't a story, but with the because I'm on the second to the last episode, it gets really, really good after that. So yeah, it's definitely very, very good. The Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's like really good, like a great follow up to it. And sometimes I've heard, it's good, but not as good as season 1. So where would you compare it to season 1?
Probably season 1 is better because and this isn't a spoiler, Tim, so you don't have to worry about it if you watch the trailer or whatever. The group has separate storylines. So two of the group are off doing this, 2 of the group are off doing that, and then 11 is off doing her own thing. It's more of a you just have to wait to the end. Well, for me anyway, you just have to wait till the end for it to all come together, because in the beginning it's like, okay, but I watch Stranger Things for the group dynamic, right? Because they cast them really well, they write the group really well, but they split them up in the season, and it's like, I don't know if this is really working out, but I have to say it comes together in the end. I'm on the last episode, so yeah, it really comes together, and there's definitely a story. I was definitely wrong about like the 80s references, the Ghostbuster stuff, the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It really made me think, like, is there anything else to this show besides, if you grew up in the 80s or early 90s, that you would get these references? But yeah, there's definitely a lot more to this show. So yeah, like I said, it pays off.
Good to hear. Yeah, because that's what made season 1 so great. The story on it and the characters were really well done. We really got invested in, but then the nostalgia aspect of the 80s and the references is just like the icing on the cake that makes it that little extra more special. So it's good that, it all comes together, at least by the end for you, that it continues with season 2.
Yeah, and it was just that 7th episode. The 7th episode in the second season is, well, for me, it wasn't very good. I didn't really like it.
It's probably the one you're talking about, because the only thing, like I read, I think it was on IGN where they were reviewing each episode, like the tagline I didn't click and read the review. I just saw the tagline. It says, this episode of Stranger Things was like, it was too funny or try to have too much humor in it for its own good, but then it kind of balanced it out later on. Was it something where it was like trying to be too funny in certain spots with those references?
No, it wasn't the references. It was more of the story, because they don't really, they kind of had, I don't know if you've seen that. You've probably seen the picture on Twitter of 11 with her hair jailed back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the episode.
Okay.
And it wasn't so much the references, it was just the story. I mean, it's an integral part of the story. It's really, really important to the story. But I just felt that it's like they tried too hard, with the... I'm just gonna stop there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just they try too hard to force that story. Like, okay, this is what happened. They just tried a little too hard, because it was leading to such a great place, but it felt really forced in that episode. But it works out, Tim. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to finish it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like I said, going through season 1 right now again, and then we'll get right into season 2. I'm looking forward to it. But with that, I guess we can go ahead and get into our featured topic for this episode, which is going to be something I did see recently, but not when it first came out. That's my, I guess, theme going on right now, where things come out, but I don't see it right away, and I get to it later than I want to or intend to. But this is going to be a review of the animated movie Batman versus Two-Face. It's continuing on the 60s Batman TV show. And sadly, of course, we know this is the last performance of Adam West as Batman. So kind of made a little bittersweet watching it, knowing that this is the last time we're going to hear Adam West as Batman. But going into it, I was looking forward to this because, first off, we have Two-Face, which was a villain that was never in the actual 60s shows that they're bringing into it. And I know they did I believe they brought him into the comic run that they had of the 60s TV show. And they were basing it off of some scripts they had for an episode that was never made. So I'm not sure if this movie was taking anything from that comic or those early scripts, but I kind of get the feeling it didn't. It was just doing its own thing. But yeah, looking forward to that because of Two-Face, and also because William Shatner is voicing Harvey Dent in Two-Face. I mean, I said that's when they first announced it and they put out that trailer, how that alone has me anxious to see this and have William Shatner be part of this universe and voice an iconic Batman villain. So in the end, it's a movie that I enjoyed, but not quite as much as I did the first one, Return of the Cape Crusaders. That one just nailed the feel and just the absurdity of the 60s TV show and just took it to another level and just made it really fun and entertaining to watch. And this one had those moments, but not quite the same. The story for this one, it's a Two-Face story that only could be done in the 60s TV show and in the Adam West universe, because it did some unique and sometimes ridiculous things with how Harvey Dent became Two-Face. So the basic premise of the movie, it starts off with Hugo Strange being introduced into this universe as well. And he had an assistant, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, which was kind of cool. She was only in it at the very beginning, but he's developed this device that's just going to suck the evil out of all of Batman's villains. So they bring in the Joker, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Egghead, the Riddler, all into this machine to try to suck the evil out of them. They're all in these chairs, and like this device hooked on their brains, and they're going to suck it out. I just like it too, where Harley or Joker kind of sees Harley and he like gives a wink at her, and Harley blushes and gives a wink back at him, kind of setting it up where things would go. I would love to see a Harley Quinn and Joker dynamic in the 60s universe. I mean, I don't know if we're probably not going to get it in the animated front now with Adam West no longer being with us, but I thought that would have been cool to see. And if I'm not mistaken, they might have done that in the comic as well. That one I'm not sure on. But anyway, the device is sucking out all the evil of the Batman's villains. They're making it like this toxic gas cloud, and it's putting it into this container. And Harvey Dent, Batman, and Robin are there to witness this. But then the villains say, okay, let's overload this machine. Let's give it all the evil it wants. And then it overloads it. The system becomes critical. It explodes, causes an accident. And the evil gas comes out and it hits Harvey Dent, and thus making a scar in his face as Two-Face. But now that that gas was full of the evil of the Batman supervillains, that's now in Harvey Dent. And that's why he becomes evil as Two-Face with the split personality. It's because of the evil that was in that gas. So not your typical Two-Face origin, but one that I think works in the wackiness of the animated series or the Adam West series. But what kind of took me by surprise is he becomes Two-Face at the very beginning, and I was thinking, oh, that was quick. I thought we would get more of Harvey Dent. That's because then after that, the little prologue there, it goes into the title sequence, and they're showing Batman and Robin taking down Two-Face in various, instances of him committing crimes. That was the opening credit scene for the movie. And after that, they apprehend him, and he's in jail already. Okay, so I know we're going to get something different here if they already captured him and Harvey Dent's already Two-Face. Because then it opens up next with Harvey waking up in the hospital bed. Bruce and Dick are there. He's cured. His face is back to normal. He's saying, the evilness inside him is gone. He's trying to get his reputation back up as a district attorney. And we see after that, Batman take out King Tut and Bookworm make appearances. So they were like the first half of the movie is Batman taking them down. But once they get captured, the things they stolen can't be found. Like King Tut stole a biplane, and Bookworm was trying to get these like ancient books. And the theme, I'll get to that later, but there were some books that have a theme to it. And then once they get captured, Harvey Dent would prosecute him and send him back to jail. That's because he at first they give him his job as not district attorney, not assistant district attorney, but the assistant to the assistant of the district attorney. But then he works his way back up to becoming a district attorney when Batman captures these high profile villains like King Tut and Bookworm. But then what I kind of liked about it at first was that it was creating a mystery as far as the character of Two-Face, because we eventually find out that Two-Face is behind, setting up King Tut and Bookworm, and that he's actually working with Harvey Dent. Because there's a sequence where we see Harvey talking to Two-Face on the phone. It's like, hey, we had a deal. I'd set these villains up, have them give them a gold or an object to steal. You capture, or Batman and Robin captures them. You prosecute them. I get the items I want. You get your reputation back and all that. So it's kind of, okay, what are they going with here? Are they doing a split personality thing where it looks like there's another Two-Face, but it's really Harvey talking to himself? Is someone impersonating Harvey or someone impersonating Two-Face? So it had a little good mystery thing going on there for a little bit. But it turns out Robin is still suspicious of Harvey being Two-Face once Batman and Robin learn that, Two-Face is still out there. But there was instances where Batman and Robin would confront Two-Face and they go straight to Harvey's office and he's there kind of showing okay, there's no way he could be both, but Robin is still leery. And this is probably the best part of the movie where Robin goes to investigate or tracks Harvey, follows him, and he goes to the old laboratory where that evil extractor was at. And he confronts Harvey, and Harvey's like, no, what are you doing? Get out of here. And then he gets knocked out from a shadowy figure from behind, and you just see Robin laying on the floor, and you hear Two-Face talking, knowing that he's there. But at the same time, you just saw Harvey. So it had me going, I got to say, where it looks like there could be two of them. But then after that, we see Two-Face just there by himself. There's no Harvey Dent. And for some reason, they had half of Two-Face, like his human side, always in the shadows. Every time he was on screen, kind of want to try to have you create the mystery of, you don't know who exactly he is. But they didn't do a good job of completely shadowing it because you could tell it's still that Harvey Dent face, which, by the way, it was kind of cool that they modeled him after William Shatner himself. You could definitely tell it's a Shatner Harvey Dent. It looked like Captain Kirk in a suit, which I thought was pretty cool. But he had deuces Robin with that evil toxin to bring out the Two-Face and Robin. So we pretty much got a Two-Face Robin for a sequence. And this was my favorite part of the movie that had me busting out laughing. Batman goes to search for Robin. He finds him just, destructing the neighborhood, breaking cars with a pole, breaking windows and stores. So the Batman goes to confront him. They have a little fight with some typical hammy, funny dialogue. Robin kicking Batman. He's going, how's that for a sidekick? And Batman telling Robin he's grounded. But the best part of the whole movie, as Batman has to fight back, he slaps Robin right in the face, and it's laid out and directed just like that classic Batman slapping Robin meme that you see everywhere. It was just it's like a great nod to that meme that everyone has seen. It just laid out so perfectly, the way Batman slaps him, the way Robin's head turns when he gets slapped, and then you have the classic Adam West, words that pop up when someone gets hit. It's a big slap that goes on the screen, and it was all done in slow motion to really sell the effect of what they were trying to do. It was just like a really great nod to that. So bravo to everyone who did that. It's just funny to see that meme brought to life in an animated way. It had me busting out laughing when I first saw it. But the movie kind of goes forward to where Harvey Dent's supposed to having a charity event, and he's doing it to where he wants Batman and Bruce there, but Bruce agrees to go, but Batman doesn't, and he's starting to get suspicious where, it looks like that they could be the same person. And then we get to a moment where he captures them as they go to investigate. And as he has them captured, this is where we get the reveal that Harvey was Two-Face all along. But like I said, only in the Adam West universe was this version of Two-Face. He could kind of repress his evil side and his facial scars at will and bring it out at will. Like you could see a little transformation, kind of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing, where he's talking to Batman and Robin as Harvey Dent, but then all of a sudden he just brings out the Two-Face and the scarring and all that. So that was one thing where, like, okay, maybe they could have just tried not to keep it too much of a mystery of trying to see who this actual Two-Face was. I think it would have been better if, like I said, they kind of had a good mystery thing going, but at the same time, it just ended up being what every Two-Face story ends up being, where, it's just Harvey kind of battling himself, kind of not knowingly doing it, but knowingly doing it at the same time for this version. So I was kind of hoping they would do it where someone was impersonating Harvey or Two-Face, kind of do something a little different and bring in, because I was hoping maybe they're going to do, like, bring Clayface into this universe too, and he's impersonating Harvey Dent while Harvey's really Two-Face, something to that effect. But I could see why they still want to go with the dual personality aspect of Harvey, because it's such a classic story element of the character that, they'd want to go to. So Harvey finds out Batman and Robin are Bruce and Dick. He actually takes off his mask. And some little nods to the animated series I thought here too, because they went up the angle where Bruce and Harvey are old friends. And then once he finds out his identity, he's going to auction off to a bunch of his rogues gallery, kind of like the episode The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, where Hugo Strange is going to auction off the identity to Joker, Penguin, and Two-Face. So the way Two-Face did this here kind of reminded me of that episode, which is a nice little nod. But Batman and Robin and also to another animated series nod, I thought. He had him tied to a giant coin and was going to flip it over to some spikes. In the episode Almost Got Him, Two-Face had Batman tied to that giant penny. So kind of like to think that was another animated series nod there. But Batman and Robin are able to escape with the help of Catwoman. They fight off Two-Face or all Batman's villains like the Joker, Egghead, Mr. Freeze, all his classic 60s villains. Then they go after Two-Face himself, because his whole plan was he had King Tut steal the biplane, and with that, he was, as all the villains were at the auction, he was sucking more of the evil tendencies that they have into that evil extractor, and then he was going to put it all in the biplane and spray it all across Gotham City, which he actually does, because we see tons of people turn into Two-Faces. So it's funny how it just does half of it, because in the beginning, it's just Harvey, the way Batman pushed him, you would think the gas only got half of his face, which is why he's Two-Face. But he's spraying it over all of Gotham, and only half their face turns into the evil side, just like Two-Face. But you would think it'd be fully evil and cover their whole face. But whatever. I know what they were trying to go for, make everyone like Two-Face. But Batman and Robin stop the biplane. It crashes into an oil ring, and Batman faces Two-Face alone, try to reach Harvey one last time. And here's where it gets a little out there on the Two-Face front, where Two-Face is fighting Batman, and then he wants to rid Harvey Dent out of his personality for good, because there's that little side of good that's pulling him not to do this. And so he just starts strangling himself, Two-Face does. And he just, subdues the Harvey Dent part of his mind and just becomes full-on Two-Face by choking himself, where his normal half side of his face is gone. He's just full-on disfigured, the full green Two-Face. Like, can't even call him Two-Face at this point. He's full face of evil, and he's fighting Batman that way. So kind of a ridiculous way that, like I said, how he could just at will bring Two-Face on and now just strangle Harvey, physically strangle himself and Harvey out of his psyche to become full-blown Two-Face or full-blown evil. But Batman is able to stop him by doing the old coin trick. Instead of his normal coin that he uses, Batman switched it during the fight and gave him a blank coin. And with that, he couldn't decide if he should kill Batman once he had him down. And Batman's all, this is your chance, Harvey, to fight back and, get rid of the evil side of you for good. So Harvey starts, says Two-Face physically choked himself to get rid of Harvey. Harvey starts punching himself to get rid of the evil side of him. And so eventually that works. He punches himself enough, and the evil part of his brain is gone, and he's back to Harvey Dent. And him and Batman make it out of there. So all of that was crazy and ridiculous, but at the same time, it works in the course of the wackiness of the 60s TV show. That's why I said at the beginning, only this version of Batman Two-Face could work, where he could punch himself back to Harvey Dent, choke himself into full-blown Two-Face, bring his crazy and evil side of him out at will. So it's ridiculous if someone just told you they were doing a Two-Face story like that. But when it's done in the Adam West version, it's fine. It's a little wacky and out there, but what more could you expect out of a 60 TV show? So it ends with Harvey getting rehabilitated again. Looks like he's, back to doing good, and he has a bachelor auction that he was supposed to have originally. But this time he's auctioning off Batman as a bachelor. And of course, who pays for a date with Batman? Catwoman, who just happens to be in the audience in her full costume with nobody noticing. That's where the movie ends. So I enjoyed it. Like I said, the gags and stuff weren't as funny as I thought in the first one, except for the Batman slapping Robin meme. That was the best part. Then there was a nice little nod. There was a character who played a defense lawyer who was trying to go against Harvey when prosecuting some of the villains, who was played by Lee Merriweather, the other actress who played Catwoman in the movie, I believe, the 66 movie. And then there was a moment where Julie Newmar's Catwoman was in jail, had to use her to escape, and switched places with her and put her in the Catwoman costume. And she looks in the mirror and is like, ooh, this is actually pretty nice. So it's kind of a fun way to get two of the actresses who played Catwoman to actually be Catwoman in the movie. But other than that, there's some funny, cheesy dialogues. But like I said, not a lot of those good gags I thought the first one had. But at the same time, it was cool to see this Adam West version of Batman take on Two-Face. And William Shatner did a great job, I got to say, both as Harvey and as Two-Face. He did a good job putting on that evil Two-Face voice for not sounding too much like Shatner. But there had to be one great Shatner moment where he does the classic Shatner acting. And that's where, at the end, he was struggling with Harvey Dent, trying to get rid of the evil side of himself and to become, back to being good. The typical Shatnerisms of acting that you would expect. So it was good to get one moment like that. So I enjoyed it. I'd probably go ahead and give it 3 out of 5. Like I said, didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, but still a fun time with the Adam West version of Batman, and it was cool to see Two-Face. So I definitely would recommend those who like it to check it out if you haven't yet. It's definitely a good time, and you'll get some laughs out of it.
Yeah, and apparently Jordan also liked it a lot too, right?
Yeah, I believe he did too. So
yeah,
I've heard mixed things going into it, because some other people I know said it was okay, not as good as the first one. So I kind of had my expectations in check a little bit, but at the same time, it was pretty much what I thought it was going to be. I was hoping it would be better than the first one because I like the premise of bringing Two-Face in here. It wasn't, but it was definitely still very enjoyable and still definitely entertaining. That's for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so they were 2 for 2 with these Adam West versions of the Batman TV, or the movies of the TV shows, I should say. And at the end, they just had a nice thing for a tribute to Adam West, just saying, in memory of our good friend Adam West, and mentioned him as the Bright Knight at the end there, which I thought was a nice touch. So all the way around, just a good way for Adam West's last turn as Batman to be remembered by. So that's good for that as well.
And if I'm not mistaken, our next episode is going to be your Justice League review, right?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In fact, so I think it's the week that it comes out, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all that weekend.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, well, I'm going to wait for that before I see it.
Hopefully it'll be good as my Batman vs. Two-Face movie review of that. So.
Yeah.
But with that, I guess we go ahead to some of our news topics that we've got the past 2 weeks. The first one is some DC movie news we'll get to, is that a Deathstroke movie has been announced, which for me is cool. And at the same time, not I want to say disappointing, but a little worried that a sequence I'm dying to see might not be there. But it was reported by the Hollywood Reporter that Deathstroke is his own movies in the works by the director of the Raid movies, Gareth Evans. And I don't know about you, Dane. I haven't seen the Raid movies in full, but I have seen sequences of the Raid movies because they're known for their great martial arts and action sequences. And from what I've seen, like the few that I have, they're really good. And it made me excited to know that Gareth Evans hopefully he'll get the gig, and then we can get some amazing Deathstroke fight sequences because the character deserves that. That's what I think is going to be the big selling point and the big draw of Deathstroke is just, as comic fans, we know how great he is at martial arts and the fighter that he is. And to see that on screen, hopefully be done in the way that some of those raid action sequences could be done would be amazing. And I think Deathstroke is a character that, not only has the action beats to carry a cool film, but he has the backstory and the character arc that can really carry a film as well. I mentioned this before when I was talking about the Judas Contract comic. All they have to do is take inspiration from that if they're going to do an origin story for him. That's all you need. The blueprint's there for a great character arc. So the Deathstroke solo movie, I think, could be really, really good, both from a story standpoint and for some really amazing action stuff. So, but the one thing I'm a little worried about is we might not get that Batman Deathstroke fight scene, because we know that originally Deathstroke was reportedly supposed to be involved in the Batman solo movie. And that got me excited to where, we could see an amazing Batman and Deathstroke fight on the big screen. I mean, seeing that would blow me away if done right. So I don't know if Batman's going to be involved in the Deathstroke solo movie. Part of me right now thinks he won't be, and vice versa for Deathstroke being in the Batman movie. But we don't know. There could be a moment where it builds to that maybe down the line in future movies or in the movie they're going to do now. So we'll just have to wait to see and hear more. But I'm excited for it. I think it'd be something really, really cool if done right.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's face it. Batman is going to be in the Deathstroke movie. He was in Suicide Squad for no reason, so why not? I have seen the first Raid movie because I know there's two. Is there three or is there two? I
think all I know of is two.
Okay. I saw the first one, and I think it really depends just what kind of fan you are. It's the first Raid movie is just nonstop action. Right, and it's kind of light on story. I mean, but in that kind of movie, you don't really need that much story. I mean, it's not a serious drama. It's
what you're getting into when you see that type of movie.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be as much as what you want to see, Tim, more than what it's actually going to be. Where it's just like kind of like the Raid, where it's here's your story, and then here's a bunch of action sequences, but they're going to be really good. They're going to tie everything together, and they're going to tie into the story, and it's going to be a great movie because I really like that first Raid movie. So I think that's what we're going to be getting with this director and this Deathstroke movie. It's going to be more just, it's a basic story, and Deathstroke is going to, fight guys.
And kill a bunch of people. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's what we're gonna get more than a serious, Justice League sized movie. And I hope they keep. I hope, and this goes for the Batgirl movie and this Shazam movie and all these single character movies. I hope they keep it small, but particularly with this Deathstroke movie, I hope they just keep it small. This is just like This is just kind of like the Raid, where it's just fight scenes. There's a little bit of story, and the story is enough, and it ties well together, and it's just a awesome movie. So, I think that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way Warner Brothers wants to go. Be kind of a smaller budget movie.
Yeah,
and not have it be as big epic extravaganza like you said. What Justice League and probably. Next Batman movie would be. But
and I guess my main point is don't tie it into anything. I mean, just let it be what it is.
Sure, especially if it's going to be the first time we're going to see the movie version of Deathstroke. Well, we'll see if he has a cameo anywhere else, but if it's his first... If this movie is the first time we're going to see him, then I agree.
That seems to be the winning formula, where it's... I mean, I think the only reason why there wasn't such a strong connection to the bigger DC universe in Wonder Woman was because it was set mostly in 1912. I think that's the only reason why, and it seems to work. It really seems to work. So, just don't try to connect it into the bigger DC universe. We don't need that. It's just Deathstroke. Just make it a small little action movie.
Nope, I agree. The only connection I would want to see is Batman, like I said before, because they're just begging for a fight sequence between those two. It'll just blow my mind.
Yeah. And
so it did say that Joe Manganiello is still involved with it, and then after like a few hours, he tweeted out a picture of the Deathstroke mask. So he's still pretty excited to be in this role. So
yeah. Oh, you mean the bully guy from the first Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm, yep.
That guy.
And Pee Wee Herman's new best friend. Did you ever see that Pee Wee Netflix movie?
No, I haven't. Is it
was
good?
It was really good, yeah.
Really?
No. Yeah, it was funny. So yeah, hopefully it won't be too long for the Deathstroke movie to get off the ground. Well, especially if it's with Gareth Evans as a director and it's anything like those Raid movies, it can be a truly unique comic book movie. So here's hoping it happens and we won't have to wait too long.
I don't know.
But also,
it kind of feels like there's too many movies, right?
There's a lot of movies announced or in development or ideas going around there. We'll see if they all come to fruition, but this is one I really hope that does.
There's a Batgirl movie. There's going to be a not Poison Ivy. By the way,
City Sirens.
Yeah, Gotham City Sirens. But by the way, how many actresses have played Poison Ivy in Gotham?
They're up to 3 now.
Yeah. I mean, what's going on with that? I mean, why do they keep on recasting it?
I know. I think it has to do with some new story point from it. I haven't seen the last 2 weeks, last week and this week's yet, but I want to because I know it deals with Professor Pig. And seeing his mask in the previews, it looks like they're doing a good job with recreating Professor Pig in live action. So I'm anxious to see what they do with him.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I saw the new casting announcement and I was like, this is like the 11th actress that they've got to play Poison Ivy.
Yeah, something like that. Technically it's 3, but it does feel that way in the course of, a TV show that's only had 4 seasons so far. And they already have 3 actresses playing Poison Ivy.
But yeah, I just don't. I mean, we got the Batgirl movie, we got the Gotham City Sirens / Harley movie. We got this Deathstroke movie, we got the Shazam movie, we got the Flash movie, we got the Batman movie, we got the
Nightwing movie too.
The Nightwing movie. This is like 15 movies that they're trying to get into production. So I don't know. Yeah.
I just thought of something too as you're talking about that because remember there's that Joker movie that's supposed to be not part of the DC movie universe, and part of me is wondering too if Deathstroke's going to fall into that category. I want it to be part of the main movie universe line or in continuity, but it wouldn't shock me at all either if certain characters like Deathstroke and some of the lesser, not the comic fans, but from a general audience, some of the lesser known DC characters like Deathstroke, maybe they would put that in the Elseworlds or other universe movie line that they're going to start. So that would be interesting to see if it's what category that movie is going to fall into as well.
But what I was thinking was, it seems like Warner Brothers is trying to do what Disney / Lucasfilm is trying to do. They're trying to have
totally.
Trying to have the main trilogy, the main movies, and then they're trying to have Solo and Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is everybody knows Han Solo. Right. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows kind of what happened with Rogue One. Sort of everything leading up to that. I don't really know if people really know or care about Deathstroke. I don't know if everybody knows and cares about the Gotham City Sirens. It's.
Yeah, but you can say that about a lot of comic characters, though. Even the Marvel stuff, they just gotta make sure it's good and market it in a way that's appealing to those casual audiences, which I think Deathstroke can definitely do with how cool his costume is, and like I said, going back to those Raid movies and the director being involved, some action sequence that just when people see trailers and commercials, go, "Oh man, that looks awesome! Got to go see that."
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many of these movies actually get off the ground, and how soon we're going to see them as well.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's going to be a few years for this Deathstroke movie. It seems like. So
just focus on that Batman movie in 2020 or whatever.
Yeah, hopefully it's 2020.
Yeah. 2025. Sorry.
That would be way too long, man. Don't say things like that. But also some more DC movie news. As you mentioned, the Shazam movie. We have our Shazam. And it's been announced that Zachary Levi is landed the lead role of Shazam. And I really like this casting. It's not someone I would think of right away to be Shazam, but when you see Zachary Levi, it's like, yeah, I could totally see him pulling off, the kid who's like the man who's actually a kid inside and always has a smile on his face and, can maybe have some old corny one-liners or jokes. I could totally see Zachary Levi pulling that off. I haven't seen too much stuff with Zachary Levi. I know he was in Chuck, which is a show I haven't watched. I have seen him in the Thor movies. Well, I just saw Thor Ragnarok, and his role in that one is a blink and you miss moment. So I won't spoil it, but he's not in it very long. And you got to really quickly see that he's there. But he was good in Thor to the Dark World as Frandrel.
He was
like
Thor?
the Robin Hood. The second one. Mm.
Oh. I'm thinking about this new one. Sorry.
Well, he was in this one, but like I said, it's a blink and you miss a moment.
So who does he play?
He plays like the character Frandrel, who's kind of one of the Warriors 3. He's almost like the Robin Hood type version, like the Robin Hood of Asgard, I guess you can say.
Oh, he plays an Asgard person.
Yeah.
Oh. By the way, how is that new Thor movie? I heard it's really, really good.
Yeah, it is really good.
No. Is it does it beat you over the head with the jokes, or is it okay?
I've heard complaints about that, and I think it depends on your sense of humor, I guess. There are a lot of jokes in it. Most of them worked for me. Some of them, like any movie, didn't all work, but it didn't, for me, didn't feel like it was beating me over the head with it, which going into it, I thought might be the case because I knew that was a criticism that I've been hearing about it. But for me, it's pretty much on par with like some of the other Marvel movies as far as humor. But
oh, good.
I like the direction they took Thor and his story, and visually it's awesome. I mean, the opening sequence is one of the best opening sequences in a Marvel movie, in my opinion.
Really?
The action that happens in it and the environment that Thor is in, looks really, really cool. It has a very fantasy aspect to it, which I thought looked really, really neat.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
but,
so once it...
Yeah,
I was just going to say, once it hits digitally, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I will. Zachary Levi, I often get confused with Brandon Routh.
You know what? I could see that.
Yeah, they kind of look the same. What also isn't helping with this Shazam casting is the fact that they have a picture of Zachary Levi who looks like kind of like a comedian would look, right? And then they put it up against the picture of the Alex Ross Shazam. Right? So, yeah, that kind of throws you off. It's like, that's a bad choice, but if you look at it in the context of the Justice League or whatever, this DC universe, the only old man is Batman, is Bruce Wayne. Everybody else is sort of younger, in their mid to late 20s, So,
well, technically, Wonder Woman has them all beat, but
oh yeah, right. But she doesn't really count.
Yeah, she still looks the best out of all of them.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, I guess I can kind of see it. They're going for that sort of Flash kind of look. You know how like they cast the Flash younger.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're going for that kind of look. So
yeah, kind of like the happy-go-lucky guy feel, which I think would be perfect for Shazam because that's what he is.
Yeah, plus too, I mean that Shazam Alex Ross thing was from Kingdom Come, and they're all supposed to be like in their 80s or whatever. So
yeah, and Shazam was pretty much just used as a weapon in that story.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess it could work. Zachary Levi could work.
Yeah. Then also, I think just yesterday or 2 days ago, they were saying that Mark Strong is in talks to play the villain for Shazam. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, he'd be good. But at the same time, I was still holding out hope that if they were going to bring him back for the Green Lantern Corps movie as Sinestro, because we all know that Mark Strong was just probably the best part of the Green Lantern movie, just perfect casting for Sinestro. So like, if we screw continuity and the questions it might raise, just bring Mark Strong back as Sinestro because he was perfect. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's going to be possible now, because he's in talks to play the villain, Dr. Sivana, who's kind of one of the main antagonists of Shazam. So he looks like he could fit that role good, but he's always going to be the perfect Sinestro.
That guy, Mark Strong, is in a lot of movies, but you don't really notice him.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
He's just like that guy. He's just like Uncle Owen from Revenge of the Sith. That guy is in so many movies that you don't even know he's in. So yeah.
And he's usually always good in the roles that he is in for Mark Strong.
Yeah. I didn't know he was British.
Strong. I knew that going in. Going into Green Lantern. Hearing him cast as Green Lantern was my first exposure to hearing the name of Mark Strong, but then I saw other movies before that one came out.
Oh, I see.
It was him in it, like Kingsman, and he was in the Russell Crowe Robin Hood movie, I believe, too.
Oh. You saw that?
Yeah, not my favorite interpretation of Robin Hood. I will say that.
Is it just flat out bad? Is it just like
it's just like bad? It was almost kind of like Robin Hood Begins, but they didn't get to Robin Hood until like the very end. Like if they did a sequel, it'd be the more traditional Robin Hood story. But yeah, this one I just didn't get into the story. Kind of felt that it dragged a little bit.
Does Russell Crowe keep his Australian accent, or does he do a British accent?
See, I don't even remember. It's been 10 years probably since like that movie came out. It was like 2000, well, maybe not quite 10, but almost there. I think it was like 2009 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I've only seen it once, so I don't remember how good his accent was in that movie.
Well, that's one more than me, Tim, because, I'm not going to watch that movie. I'm not going to see that movie.
Yeah, the only Robin Hood movies you need are the Errol Flynn one, the Kevin Costner one, and Robin Hood.
Kevin Costner did one?
Oh, maybe you're too young for that one. Yeah, back in 1990. Yeah. That was a big deal when that movie came out. Yeah.
And it was a serious Robin Hood movie.
Yeah, totally. Are you talking about Russell Crowe's accent? Kevin Costner didn't even try.
Oh, really? He just played it his regular American
Pretty
accent.
much, yeah.
So you see, now you got me curious. Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in England.
Yep.
And he still has his American accent, right? Is is the movie good?
Yeah, I liked it. I watched it maybe about like a year or two ago. It still holds up for me. It's a good take on it. It's different where he's not in the classic Robin Hood outfit with the bright greens and the hat and all that. It's more of a serious take, I guess you could say. And
they were like super serious about it.
I don't want to say super serious. I mean, there are some fun and funny elements in it as well, but you also get a great performance by Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Really?
Yeah, he does a great job in that movie. Morgan Freeman's in it also.
Really? Does he do a British accent?
Better than Kevin Costner's.
Really? He does one.
Well, he's not from there, obviously. They meet each other in a dungeon when they were in the Crusades, fighting in the Crusades, and he helps them escape. So, but he sounds like he has a better British accent than Kevin Costner, even though he probably doesn't. Just because Kevin Costner has none.
So it's just the story of Robin Hood then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, if you ever want to check out a Robin Hood movie, if you've never seen this one, I would recommend it.
Okay, I guess I have to watch it now because it's bizarre that I think of Robin Hood. I don't think of Kevin Costner.
Yeah, like I said, it came out in 1990 when I was like 6 years old. So it was my wheelhouse of being, fan of adventure and movies and all that stuff, and knowing Robin Hood from like the Errol Flynn movie that my dad would show me as a kid. So
yeah, and plus too, I mean, Kevin Costner was huge back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Then you have that Bryan Adams song, that "Everything I Do for You." That was a massive hit. That was a theme song for it.
he wrote that song for that movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
As a song for Robin Hood and Maid Marian?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they play it at the credits once the movie is over.
Yeah, no,
If
but
you remember the music video, it's totally Robin Hood themed.
You would think that they would get time period appropriate music, you know? Like
well, throughout the course of the movie, the score is like that. It's just at the end credits when the theme song kicks in, which was for most movies during the 90s. You always had to have that radio hit song to close it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess, Titanic did that, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. It got bigger. It didn't get bigger than that one.
Oh, yeah.
So that's your homework, Dane. Watch Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I know, because I just can't imagine Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. I mean, I know he was like the biggest movie star back in those days. Because that must have been after Dances with Wolves, right?
It might have been his next movie after Dances with Wolves, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
They were pretty close, yeah.
So, Dances with Wolves comes out. It's the biggest movie of the year. It wins Best Picture. You know, it's the Kevin Costner vehicle where he's like, writer, producer, actor. And he decides to do Robin Hood.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's a classic character everyone knows and loves. You get the biggest Hollywood actor at that time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
you put those two together, you get a pretty big movie.
Yeah, just do whatever. And then they gave him Waterworld, and they don't give him...
It all went down after the Waterworld.
I remember the gills behind the ears, and then people were like, yeah, let's just have Kevin Costner star in stuff after that.
Then it was what, The Postman after that?
Oh yeah, the Whitney Houston one, right?
Oh, that was The Bodyguard.
Oh yeah, So The Bodyguard was after Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, after Dances with Wolves and Robin Hood. I think before Waterworld.
Yeah, before Waterworld.
So that was because that was a big hit also. So his trend was still going up in those early 90s. Once Waterworld hit, that's where it started becoming trouble for Kevin Costner.
Waterworld.
Never seen that, and I don't think I am ever going to see that.
You've never seen it?
Nope.
Oh, it's pretty good when you're a kid. I mean, it's like, they got jet skis, and it's like Mad Max jet skis, and Kevin Costner has like webbed feet and like,
wow, see, I didn't even know that. Like the gills and the webbed feet. I just thought he was just a normal human.
It's a super, super great movie if you're a kid watching it, because it's like, they got these cool sets. There's like the outfits are cool, and Dennis Hopper's cool, and Kevin Costner, has his own like catamaran. I used to love that movie when I was a kid. Waterworld. I don't know why, because it's just a bad movie, but.
Yeah, it's remembered for being a pretty big bomb too. With the budget that it had, yeah.
They spent a lot and it didn't make it back.
No, it didn't.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, Waterworld sank at the box office. I'm sure that was a headline for a lot of reports on the box office flop of that.
So, let me get that. I don't know why we're talking about Kevin Costner and his filmography, but was Field of Dreams, was that after Dances with Wolves?
That I'm not sure. That might have been pretty close because Field of Dreams came out, I think, 89. Let me see when Dances with Wolves came out.
Yeah.
Because they might have just been a year apart from each other.
That was another one I loved too, Dances with Wolves. I don't know why.
Yeah. Dances with Wolves came out in 1990, so yeah.
Okay, so it was right after.
Mm-hmm. So he had a good streak for a few years. Field of Dreams, Dances with Wolves, Robin Hood, Bodyguard.
What did that Robin Hood movie get on Rotten Tomatoes?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves did well critically or not. I think financially it did, but I remember it fondly, but I'm not sure exactly, how well it was received by critics at the time.
Yeah.
So let's see. Looking up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's see. Robin Hood
I'm
Princess.
guessing it's going to be somewhere like the 70s or 80s.
No, it got a 50.
50? Wow.
Yeah. From 52 reviews. So, yeah, I guess it wasn't reviewed. It got 2 Golden Raspberry Awards, whatever that is.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it right now. Yeah, 50. Wow, I didn't think it was that split.
Yeah. So, Christian Slater, who was also in the movie, I guess,
Yeah, he was.
was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor.
He didn't even have that big of a role in it.
Really?
Yeah, he played Will Scarlet.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, a toy line was released by Kenner.
All it was is recycled Star Wars toys.
Yeah. Return of the Jedi toys. So how did they do that? I mean, what was it?
The Sherwood Forest was pretty much the Ewok Village playset, and I had the
Really?
Ewok Village playset as a kid. And when I saw the commercials for Robin, I was like, "Hey, that's just the Ewok Village set I already have."
How do you reuse the vehicles though? It says vehicles and playset.
See, all I remember was the Ewok Village, and then just recently, someone tweeted out an image of the Friar Tuck figure.
Yeah.
What they did was put a normal person's head and body over the Grimorian Guard action figure from Return of the Jedi. I was like, oh man, I didn't know they went that far, but
It's
they
like
did.
they didn't care. And Tim, you'd be surprised to know there was a video game of the same name on the original Nintendo.
I
and
did
Game
play a
Boy.
little bit of that actually.
And
I don't remember if it was good or not, to be honest, because my cousin had it, and I just played for a little bit at her house, and I didn't remember what type of game it was. I think it was a side scroller.
really?
Yeah, like I said, I did play it very long, so it must have not have been that great.
Oh, that's bad. I mean, but you don't see him nowadays. I think the last big one I seen was the Mad Max video game tie-in.
Yeah,
but I
they don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
at all,
they don't really do that anymore.
which is pretty much a good thing because none of those games are really that great.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I'm looking at Kevin Costner's filmography. So it's pretty much from like '87 is when he started getting good, because he was in The Untouchables, then he was in No Way Out, and Bill Durham,
Mhm.
and then Field of Dreams, and then Dances with Wolves. So yeah, it works out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Robin Hood wasn't well received as I remembered it being, but it's kind of like the movie Hook. I know that got panned critically, but
Yeah,
I really like that movie, and kids from my generation who grew up with it, we all look fondly at that movie. So I think it's kind of the same maybe with Robin Hood.
yeah. I mean, it has to be, because it has to be one of those kind of movies where, like a cult film, where it's just like nobody saw it. I mean, yeah, nobody really saw it. Got bad reviews, but now everybody loves it.
See, now you definitely got to see it, Dane. Am I just looking at it through like nostalgia glasses, or if you actually think it's a good movie? So
You know which movie I really want to see now or watch is Field of Dreams. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
no, Robin Hood first. You got to set your priorities for Kevin Costner movies.
I want to watch Dances with Wolves. I don't know why.
I've never seen that movie, actually. I know my parents loved it at the time, but
It's actually a really good movie.
when I remember seeing it at the VHS store for like $100.
Really?
Yeah, like the time where VHS
It was
still cost a lot.
$100.
I think it was a two video set because it's a long movie.
Yeah.
So I think that probably jacked the price up a little bit for it too.
Yeah, and I remember because in the beginning, Kevin Costner's character ends up getting hurt in the Civil War, so they're kind of like it begins in the Civil War era, right?
Okay.
And then it flashes to the Dances Dances with Wolves era, I guess you could say. And I remember I couldn't figure out why he wasn't fighting the Native Americans in the beginning for some reason. Because it's I guess that's because I saw it when I was a kid, and I remember being like, oh, so like this is like a war movie. They're fighting the French, and then it flashes forward, and then Kevin Costner's with the Native Americans, and I was like, oh, so this is a Native American movie.
Yeah, I know it has to do with that. With Kevin Costner going to like a Native American tribe and kind of living among them, and he befriends a wolf. But other than that, I'm not too familiar. At least that's what I remember. Very little descriptions from my parents when they saw it.
Yeah, that's why they call them Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, I remember the wolf's name is Two Socks. If I remember right. So,
but what kind of doesn't make sense as an adult now is why was there a white woman living with the Native Americans? Like,
see, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. It's like, so the one white guy that, kind of falls in with the Native Americans finds the one white woman living with the Native Americans.
What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds? And she speaks, I can't remember what Native American language they speak, but she happens to speak both English and that language. It's like,
the perfect scenario for Kevin Costner. Someone to talk with and someone to translate for him as well.
Yeah.
We got way off track. I don't remember. We got talking Robin Hood and Kevin Costner. I don't remember how we got onto Robin Hood, but
Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's why. But how did we get on Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I know. Yeah. We'd probably go down another rabbit hole if that happened. But anyway, to kind of wrap up some of the new stuff that happened, Justice League, we know that, as we've said, it's coming out in just 2 weeks. And they released a little bit from Danny Elfman's score, the first track from it. And listening to it, I was pretty anxious to hear how it's going to sound. And because I was excited about Danny Elfman coming back. And I really want a Justice League, epic theme that fits the team. Kind of in vein to his Batman theme, which I'll talk about a little bit later too. The Superman theme, I want an iconic superhero theme for the Justice League. So he put out a track for about I forget, trying to think of the actual name for the track is going to be, but it's called
Heroes Theme, right?
Heroes Theme, yeah. So that's what made me think that. I had audio playing back there for a second as I clicked the YouTube link, but the hero theme, which makes me think, okay, that's going to be the theme for the Justice League. And when I heard it, it was good. It felt like Elfman, but at the same time, it didn't have that iconic or memorable feel that I was hoping for. That that just sticks with you right when you hear it. Maybe at the course of the movie, and I hear it a few times, it'll kind of sink in and start feeling like a theme for the Justice League. But it just didn't have that, gravitas that I was hoping for. It didn't grab me right away. It's like, okay, this, really fits the Justice League. But it was nothing bad. It felt like Danny Elfman, but I was just hoping for a little bit more. So maybe we'll get other themes throughout the course of the movie that'll, have that feeling that I'm looking for. But as far as this one, didn't quite capture what I was, kind of hoping it would. But I don't know what you think of it, Dane.
Yeah, me neither. It sounds like I told you before we started recording. It sounds like it's from a Marvel movie. It's sort of like that serious, big, epic sound, but we're gonna be fun too. This is fun, sort of feel, and it kind of sounds in this day and age when we have like 25 superhero movies coming out every year. It kind of sounds generic, in that sense. But like you said, I want to hear his Batman theme, and I want to hear, the other songs from the soundtrack, I guess.
Well, did you see that video that's gone around this past week about him talking about the Batman theme?
Does he say it's going to be like his 89 score?
I think it is going to be the 89 score because in the video he goes, there's only one Batman theme and it's going to be in the movie.
Yeah,
And
but it's a different thing, you know.
I know, but at the same time, it's like even when Danny Elfman was first announced, I was hoping there'd be a little bit of the Batman '89 theme in there. So I don't know if it's going to be full blown, main Batman '89 theme in there, but it's going to be a little homage to it. But the way he's talking in that video kind of makes me think it's going to be the full theme, which is going to be interesting. And I get what you're saying. It's a new thing. It should have its own theme, or the theme they created for Batman versus Superman for Batman. But the fanboy in me just can't help but be excited to hear that again in the new movie with Batman and the Justice League. So we'll see how it all plays out. But right now, I got to say, I'm pretty excited to hear it again.
Yeah, but still, yeah, I mean, it'll be better than the Batman versus Superman one, which was just like a soundscape of
Yeah,
a
wasn't my
warehouse.
favorite.
Yeah, it sounded like it kind of just sounded like an ambient track. There was really nothing to it. So
Yeah, so I'm just curious to see where it'll be used, but I think it's going to get a big cheer from the audience if it, really fully plays the theme that we all remember. It might get a pretty big reaction. So
I don't
we'll
think
see.
it's going to work, Tim.
Yeah, it might
in this
not.
Batman. Yeah.
It might not. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But right now, I'm excited to hear it again. We'll just have to see how it all fits and plays out in the course of the movie.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, the one thing I'll mention. Anyone who hasn't seen this yet, go check out the Justice League action short with Mark Hamill. It is fantastic. I don't want to say too much, but all you got to know is it's the Joker and the Trickster kidnapping Mark Hamill. And of course, they're both being voiced Mark Hamill. It's really funny. Mark Hamill voices himself. He voices the Joker, the Trickster. And it's just really, really, really funny. And some of the jokes they talk about Mark Hamill being an actor, voice actor, and all that. It's only about 2 minutes because Justice League action episodes are only about 10 minutes on TV. But this one is just an exclusive for the web. So it's only about 2 minutes, but definitely check it out. I tweeted out a link to the YouTube video of it saying it's the best thing that Justice League action has ever done. And we even got a like by Mark Hamill on that tweet. So definitely check it out. It's hilarious. It's just a great idea, to kind of break a fourth wall type thing where you got Mark Hamill being captured by the characters he voices. So it's really a lot of fun.
Did you see, I mean, like people say, like, oh, Mark Hamill, the Joker, Mark Hamill, of course, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, this and that. But you know what people don't say? Mark Hamill was in Wing Commander. Right? But
the video games, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see he's doing? I mean, I had no idea that they were doing this, but I guess the people that made that Wing Commander, right? They crowdfunded. It's like the most money a crowdfunded video game has ever made. But they're making another one, and Mark Hamill is going to be in that game.
Yeah, I did hear about that. But I think he might have been the one who told me about it. But it's something that surprised me that they still want to have that going.
Yeah,
but it's cool if Mark Hamill still want to do it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean it's like people know him as Luke Skywalker. People know him as Joker now. Not many people know that he was in that Wing Commander game. that full motion video.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be better quality than those old Wing Commander games when those full motion video cutscenes were.
And have you seen that movie, the Wing Commander movie?
No, I heard it's awful though.
Yeah. I'm just hoping for a reboot.
Yeah. Well, here you go. This game can serve as a reboot. I'm sure it will be better because it has Mark Hamill in it, so automatically it'll be better than that movie.
Yeah.
But with that, that's it for our news and discussion topics and our talk about Kevin Costner and his movies in the late 80s and mid 90s. But we could go ahead and get to Jordan's email. So Jordan says, "Hey, Tim and Dane and Alex, good to have you back, Dane. I love the final Justice League trailer. I've been going back and forth between whether or not I liked it better than the previous one or not. But as of this writing, I'm leaning towards the new one as my favorite. It had me hooked right from the start with the dream sequence of the Kent farm. The Man of Steel score is my favorite film score of all time, and hearing the Man of Steel theme to start the trailer was magical. I thought it was pretty brilliant the way they incorporated Superman into this trailer without actually revealing anything about his return. There were a lot of great action beats in that trailer. The ones that stood out to me most were Wonder Woman battling Steppenwolf and Cyborg catching Aquaman as he's falling. The latter is yet another example of what's going to make this film so special, seeing those team-up moments of the different heroes working together for the first time in live action. The trailer ended with a hilarious scene between Barry, Bruce, and Diana. I'm digging everything we've seen of Barry and Bruce's dynamic so far. They have such a contrasting personalities, and I think it's going to be a blast seeing them interact with each other. As of my writing this email, we've only got 16 days left to wait for the film. I've got my ticket for a Thursday night preview screening. Also, the past few days, AT&T stores have been giving away Justice League posters and doing some other promotional stuff. I was the first one there on the first day of this event at my local AT&T store. So they gave me all five posters.
Tim. Did Alex go? I mean, not Alex. Sorry. did Jordan go to the AT&T store for something else, or did he go there specifically for the posters?
He doesn't say, but I'm guessing Jordan just went there just for the Justice League posters, which I probably would have done myself too. I didn't know they were actually having that, but
yeah,
it's cool that you scored 5 of them on the first day.
Do you have to be an AT&T customer to?
That's a good question. Yeah, did you have to like switch over and switch plans in order to get those posters? Like that's how they get you?
You have to start a line, start a new line.
Yeah. They said they also had an exclusive Justice League Snapchat filter you could access and some cool Justice League art on the wall. It was a pretty fun way to get even more pumped for the movie's release. I remember, was it AT&T? But during the Revenge of the Sith, where I was working at the time, it was like we shared a building with if it wasn't AT&T, I forget the company, but it was another cell phone company, but they were marketing a Revenge of the Sith, like posters and stuff all over there. So every time I went into work, I saw those and just like, so close to the movie. We're so close to the movie. So I imagine it's the same for this Justice League and AT&T.
You were working at the Sprint store?
No, we shared a building. It was an office building. So every time I go into the building, I see all those Revenge of the Sith posters.
Oh, so you're working at the GameStop then?
No, it was just an office job.
Sorry.
Yeah. But Jordan continues saying, another trailer that we just got is for Scooby-Doo and Batman the Brave and the Bold. The trailer looked pretty good to me. This is a cool way to celebrate the Brave and the Bold's 10th anniversary next year. I really like the Scooby-Doo meets Batman episodes of the new Scooby-Doo movies growing up. So this movie has that nostalgia going for it for me as well. A lot of Batman characters are going to be in it. And besides Batman, the one that excites me the most is, of course, Catwoman. Also, Harvey Bullock will be making his debut in the Brave and the Bold universe with this film, which would be fun to see. Yeah, I saw the trailer for this movie, and I thought, oh, cool, Batman Brave and the Bold's coming back, but wasn't expecting it to be with a Scooby-Doo team up. So, never much of a Scooby-Doo guy, but I know it has its fans, and they even did it in an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold. There are two versions, like this version of Batman and the Scooby-Doo franchises match up really well together. So it's not too much of a surprise that this is what they're going to do, but it's just cool that Batman Brave and the Bold is coming back. And I didn't even realize this until I read your email, Jordan, that it's its 10 year anniversary of that show, which is hard to believe. It still feels like it's the last Batman show, even though it's not, because we had Beware the Batman and now we got Justice League Action and all that stuff. But I guess it feels like the truly last great Batman animated series, because Beware the Batman, didn't really do that great. And Justice League Action, while great, it's not a full-length animated series. Like I said, they're all just 10 minutes long, and it's with the Justice League, not just Batman. So I still hold Brave and the Bold in that, the last great Batman animated series that we've got. So definitely glad they're bringing it back, and hopefully there'll be more to come with just Batman, Brave and the Bold, and not a team up with Scooby-Doo. But it's really cool that they're doing this.
The Dark Knight is almost 10 years old.
Yeah, it's the same year. Man, that's going to be crazy too. Yeah, the fact that that's going to be 10 years old and just everything, how big and momentous that was, yeah, it's hard to believe, because you kind of still feel the effects of it 10 years later, and just how, monumental it was for Batman and the movie franchise. And yeah, 2008 was a good year for comic book movies, because we had The Dark Knight and then the Marvel Cinematic Universe launch with Iron Man that same year. So 2008 was a year to remember. Yeah, just 2 months apart.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I totally forgot about that. How
So,
old is Spider-Man 3?
well, that's 10 years old now. It came out
Really?
May 2007. Yeah.
Wow, it's been 10 years since that movie.
And I don't think it's aged very well, as we talked about last time.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but didn't they try to do the Art Deco style for some reason in that one movie?
No, not really. I mean, there was that awful nightclub dance sequence that Peter Parker had, but I wouldn't fully call it Art Deco, but it was bad on other levels, but not because of the visual style.
I remember that for some reason. I don't know why. Wasn't he trying to impress Mary Jane with Gwen
he was on a date with Gwen Stacy, but then he saw Mary Jane work there, so he thought to impress her by playing the piano, dancing on the bar table. And,
that whole concept doesn't make sense to begin with.
No,
so you're going to go to your ex-girlfriend's job with your new girlfriend to impress her?
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound good.
Well, the evil things the symbiote made him do in that movie. No wonder he had to get rid of it.
Yeah, going to your ex-girlfriend's job to impress her.
That movie. Yeah, still haven't forgiven it for being my biggest disappointment with a comic book movie. That one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Mary Jane an actress?
Yeah, she was trying to be an actress,
a Broadway actress.
She had
a show on Broadway.
She got fired. Right? She got fired because she couldn't act.
Yeah, but she was on a Broadway play. Isn't that like super hard to get?
I would think so. Yeah,
to get like a starring role on a Broadway play. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't need to go into Spider-Man 3 again. Too many bad memories.
Well, at least Venom was in there, right?
For what, 2 or 3 shots where he actually had his face covered by the symbiote and he looked like Venom and not Topher Grace.
I think that movie was actually bad for Venom because I remember everybody was into Venom because he looked so cool. I mean,
I grew up loving Venom as a character. We're going to see the first time in a movie. That's why I was so excited about that. Yeah. And the symbiote storyline is my favorite Spider-Man story, and God, they botched it.
What I don't get is like Venom is like 95% what he looks like, right?
Exactly.
And then they had Topher Grace for 95% of that movie.
Yeah, it was so shoehorned in. You could just really tell. It's like they just threw him in there because they knew that's what fans wanted to see. But yeah, they didn't care about making it right.
And Sandman for some reason.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where the director wanted Sandman to be the villain, but the producers made him put Venom in there, and he wasn't that invested in it. That's why it came out the way it did. Anyway.
Wait, one more question about Spider-Man 3.
You have to, Dane. You have to.
Am I remembering this correctly, Tim? Was Green Goblin in that movie?
Harry Osborn, his son, was the new Goblin at the very beginning.
Yeah.
He fights Peter Parker, and then he gets amnesia once he gets knocked off his glider.
Oh, you're right.
Then he comes at the end to help out against Venom and Sandman, and he dies, and Peter Parker cries. He forgives Sandman and all that stuff. And,
why did they give him amnesia?
I know, just to make... Yeah, it was stupid. It's another needless plot thread in that movie that had way too many.
Yeah, wasn't it like something like Peter Parker's job at the Daily Planet or whatever?
Daily Bugle,
whatever. Wasn't his job security in jeopardy because not Harry Osborn,
Eddie Brock
showed up?
Yeah, they're both competing for a staff job because they were freelance photographers. Yeah,
right. And then so like Peter Parker as Spider-Man somehow like beats up Eddie Brock or something.
No, he just you're making me remember this movie or something. Eddie Brock creates a fake photograph of Spider-Man robbing a bank to make him look bad, but then Peter Parker finds out, realizes, it's like a fake job. He exposes Eddie Brock, and then the Daily Bugle has to issue a retraction, so he gets fired. And then Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker for that, even though he caused it on himself. And
it's so bad, Tim.
Yeah, are you done making me relive that?
Yes, I'm done.
Thank you. Well, I'm hoping the Tom Hardy Venom movie redeems the character, even though it needs to. I'll be curious to see how they make it work without Spider-Man being involved, but I think Tom Hardy, at the very least, will be given a much, much better faithful portrayal of Venom and Eddie Brock than Topher Grace did. So,
well, at least he looks like Eddie Brock.
Exactly.
In the sense that, he looks muscular. So.
Yeah. So, hopefully that'll redeem the character.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And I have to say,
you said you were done.
I'm not talking about Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
I'm talking about the new Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
I have seen it again. I've rented it.
Mm-hmm.
My new review is that it's a good movie.
Glad to hear it. Yes.
Yeah. I like.
What made you turn it around this time?
I don't know. I think it was. I think it was the fact that it didn't take itself super seriously. I mean, it takes itself seriously as it
had high stakes, but
it had high stakes.
But grounded too at the same time.
Grounded. It's a superhero movie, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It has jokes in it. The Peter's friend, I can't remember his name. It's comic relief, but good comic relief.
Yeah.
It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's a great movie. So, yeah, it's a great movie.
Oh, glad to hear you came around on it. Yeah, I really liked it too. I gotta watch. I got the Blu-ray for it. I just need to watch it again. I've only seen it once at the theater.
Another thing I can super, super appreciate it for. It wasn't based around a love interest.
Yeah,
really. I mean,
he had one, but it wasn't the focus of it. Yeah,
it wasn't the focus of it, and it ends up playing into the story really nicely.
Yeah, had a great payoff. Yeah, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it yet, but her dad being Michael Keaton's Vulture, I thought was a great twist to it. It wasn't hinged on the love interest, just like Batman Begins was. So, or even actually all 5 of the previous Spider-Man movies were all hinged on that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. But yeah, so yeah, it's a great movie.
I'm glad to hear you came around on it because I really liked it too. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Jordan's email.
Yeah.
No more bad memories of Spider-Man 3. So Jordan says, I'm very excited about Batman the Animated Series coming to Blu-ray. Well, I've gone digital, so I guess what I'm actually excited about is being able to buy the HD remasters of the episodes online. I figured this news was probably not too far following the Blu-ray release / HD remasters of Batman Mask of the Phantasm. I didn't expect it to come this quickly after that. Given that the new Batman adventures are packaged as part of Batman the Animated Series for the DVDs, I'm assuming that those episodes will be included as part of this as well. They better be anyway. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Jordan. They have to be included with that because they did it before and they're technically all part of the same series. So I would bet that would be the case. And he continues saying, I agree with you, Tim. The Dark Knight's Metal 3 is the best of the series so far. Well, at least of the main series. I haven't been picking up most of the tie-ins either. Spoilers. I liked the first 2 issues, but I wasn't over the moon about them. The issue felt like an improvement to me, though. There were a bunch of cameos from lots of DC characters, including some more obscure ones, that I appreciated. And the way it ended on such a shocking and dire cliffhanger was very exciting. That final scene pretty much made the issue for me, and I can't wait to see how Batman and Superman get out of this mess. Tim, I was really glad to hear you enjoyed the finale of the War of Jokes and Riddles as much as I did, despite not being a big fan of the rest of the arc as I was. Moving on to Batman number 33. I loved it. Spoilers. It's Batman and Catwoman's first adventure together as an engaged couple. And to quote the Joker, it didn't disappoint. And I mean the first scene literally ends with Batman and Catwoman riding off into the sunset with the dialogue, I love you, Cat. I love you too, Bat. As a Bat-Cat shipper, it really doesn't get any better than that. Meanwhile, back at stately Wayne Manor, there's some great stuff between the Robins and Alfred. The scene where Jason is trying vigorously to get his jacket back from Ace and Alfred effortlessly gets Ace to give it up cracked me up. Tom King hasn't incorporated the Robins into his run very much, but when he has, He's done a great job with them. The issue ended with a pretty surprising reveal that Talia is who Bruce and Selena were heading to find. I'm fine with that, given that it's Selena who Bruce is proposed to and not Talia after all, LOL. I'm not really sure where King is going with this, but I trust King more than any other writer, to be honest. So I'm confident he has something great up his sleeve once again. Any update with Teen Titans? Sorry, Jordan. I kind of feel bad for saying this in the last few emails. I haven't had a chance to continue watching it. We're at a time now where there's tons of other, like the TV shows are back with new seasons, catching up on books and everything, and gaming and other stuff. But Teen Titans kind of fell back to stuff I need to catch up on. But I will eventually. I'm not going to give up on it, but it just might take a lot longer than I planned. So I feel like I'm letting you down, Jordan. I'm sorry, but I'll get to it eventually. I did notice, or I continue saying, I did indeed watch Daredevil and The Defenders, and I think Dane mentioned that he noticed. The first season of Daredevil is my favorite thing I've seen from the MCU, to be honest. It took a few episodes for Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin to grow on me, but there was one scene pretty early in particular where I finally figured out what D'Onofrio was going for with his performance, and I loved him from there on out. They did an excellent job with Daredevil's origin in the flashbacks, really making you invested in this version of him. And I loved his supporting cast as well. I wasn't a big fan of the Punisher stuff in season 2, but once Elektra got introduced, it really picked up for me. Again, they killed it with the flashbacks with her, and I thought Elodie Young was unbelievable in the role. Also, there was a scene where Kingpin returned that reminded me so much of the Dark Knight interrogation scene between Batman and the Joker, and it just had my jaw on the floor. Great stuff. Yeah, cool. Glad to see you caught up on Daredevil. Really, really good, especially those first. There's only 2 seasons, but I really enjoyed both seasons. Season 2 is probably actually my favorite, even though I really, really like season 1. But I love the Punisher stuff. I think I said this before. I was never much a Punisher fan, but this version and take on the character made me really invested in him. And I'm looking forward to his series coming out next month. But glad you enjoyed these first 2 seasons of Daredevils. But now curious to see what you thought of The Defenders, Jordan, because hearing mixed things on it from other fans. I really liked it, but I know some others kind of thought it was a little slow to get through and wasn't really their thing. So let me know what you thought of The Defenders. Did you see it, Dane?
Yeah,
The Defenders?
What is that?
It's a team up with all the Netflix Marvel shows. We got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist.
And it's not very good?
No, I liked it, but it's getting mixed reviews, so some people didn't like it. But I thought it was a nice culmination of all those shows kind of being brought together.
Oh, I guess I have to watch it now then.
You'll probably have to watch it before Daredevil season 3. I will say that.
Oh, really? It's connected?
Yeah, especially when it comes to Daredevil. So.
Yeah, I see.
But Jordan finishes up his email with a couple of questions. He says, are there any Rebirth stories so far that you'd want to see adapted into, or at least used as heavy inspiration for a film in the DC animated movie universe? The universe is obviously very, very heavily inspired by the New 52. But now that the New 52 has transitioned into Rebirth in the comics, I'm wondering if they'll start pulling inspiration from the Rebirth comics. As you might expect, I'd love to see the entire Tom King Batman run so far adapted into animated form. I think that they could do a movie or a series of movies basically telling the story of Gotham Girl based off of I Am Gotham, I Am Suicide, and I Am Bane. The only thing is, I think King plans to continue telling more stories with Gotham Girl, given the future she spoke of way back in Batman 5. So they possibly should wait and see how King eventually ends her story, and then adapt it at that point. The 2 stories I think that they could adapt already are Rooftops and The War of Jokes and Riddles. The War of Jokes and Riddles is very self-contained, and so that's the King story that I think could be adapted most faithfully at this point. The film could start adding in Rooftops as basically a prologue, changing the story so it's more self-contained, but keeping the key elements and moments, as well as a proposal from Batman 24. Then be mostly one long flashback, like Wonder Woman, and end with Selina's answer from Batman 32. I'd be all for that. Thinking about it, I think that could even work as a live-action movie. Besides stuff from King's Batman run, Island of Scars, The Green Arrow would be something I'd love to see adapted. I've been waiting for them to do a Green Arrow film in the DCU AOM line for so long. That would be a great choice for one, in my opinion. The only DCU AOM movie in the New 52 inspired shared universe that's currently announced is Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. I haven't been reading Suicide Squad Reverse, so I don't have any ideas for what they might adapt for that, if that even is what they're planning to do. My ideas are just for any possible future films in that shared universe that come out following that. Yeah, that's a good question, Jordan. Reverse has been going on for over a year now with some great stories. So ones that I think would make for a good animated movie. Despite me not liking all of the warp jokes and riddles, I think it could be adapted to a pretty awesome movie, like you said right here. They can draw out more of the stuff I thought was skimped over on in the comics and to make it for a more compelling telling of the war between Joker and Riddler. So I think that could actually work. And also on the Batman front, most recently, the first Ally story from All-Star Batman by Scott Snyder, I think could be a really cool animated movie that really highlights and focuses on the father and son relationship that Batman and Alfred had, that I think would be really cool to see. And then stuff with Superman. I would love to see an animated movie with this new status quo for Superman with his son, John. The stuff in the Superman comics and Action Comics have been really, really good. They could take little inspirations from some of those story arcs and make them into one movie, or even start off now with what they're doing with the Oz Effect storyline with Jor-El being revealed to be Mr. Oz and the conflict that's causing for Superman with his son. So Green Lantern, or Hal Jordan the Green Lanterns, has been really good too. So those would be some of the titles I would love to see be animated movies from Rebirth. But how about you, Dane? Any of the Rebirth stories that you've read that you think could be good animated movies?
No, not really. There hasn't really been like a story that would warrant that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, not yet.
Just perfectly fine with comics right now, I guess.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
I mean, who knows? Maybe even Doomsday Clock, depending how successful that is, could be, a big animated movie they do in the future. So I'm sure they'll do one of these eventually. But his second question is, with the Batman 66 animated films and now the recently announced upcoming Scooby-Doo and Batman Brave and the Bold receiving previous DC TV shows or reviving previous DC TV shows in animated form, are there any other old DC TV shows that you'd like to see get the same treatment? My first choice would be Smallville, hands down. No surprise there. I'd love to see an animated movie set after the events of the Season 11 comics. The Season 11 comics gave us many adventures with Tom Welling's version of the character, finally actually in the role of Superman, and I'd love to see another adventure with that Man of Steel, this time in animation. A requirement for such an animated film, or at least for me, Kristen Kirk reprising her role as Lana. We did see Lana one more time in the Season 11 comics, and it could work here too. Of course, another top choice for me would have to be the series that made me a diehard Bat fan, The Batman. I'm not going to lie, I was a little bitter to hear that Batman, the Brave and the Bold was getting a film adaptation for its 10th anniversary, while The Batman didn't get one for its 10th anniversary back in 2014. Yes, The Batman did already get a tie-in animated movie back during its original one, whereas The Brave and the Bold didn't. But nonetheless, I'm greedy and want another one, LOL. DC could rectify that bitterness for me by doing another The Batman animated film for its 15th anniversary in 2019. Well, for me, hands down, the series I want to see brought back is Batman Beyond. There's just so much more potential they can do with that. And I know they tried in the comics to varying success. The ones by Kyle Higgins I thought were awesome because it continued the continuity of the animated series. But some of the other ones and the one currently going on in Rebirth, they just don't capture that Batman Beyond feel that I love when it's not connected and tied into the animated series continuity. So I would love for Batman Beyond to be brought back with an animated movie. And I know Bruce Timm and company always gets asked that, even at that New York Comic Con panel where they announced the animated series Blu-ray, that question got asked. And he just said, we'd love to do it. It's not up to us. So just got to make your voices heard. So Batman Beyond would be the one I'd love to see brought back in an animated movie. But how about you, Dane? Any DC series that's no longer on the air that you'd like to see brought back in some way?
I would say the animated series, but I don't know, that could go wrong.
And it's still kind of like the continuity hasn't shown up too much, but you still get elements of it still continuing on, like with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill and Justice League Action and little other stuff like that. So its legacy is still going on.
How about something that they should stay away from? That sort of anime style that they've been doing recently.
Like Batman Gotham Knight. animated movie.
or the
like
Red Hood one. Yeah.
oh, I wouldn't call that anime really.
Yeah, well, they have like the anime sort of face, so.
But that was a great movie though.
Yeah, it was a good movie, but yeah, just stay away from that anime stuff.
You know what? Now that it hasn't gotten a lot of press, and I kind of forgot about it, but there's a new anime project coming out called Batman Ninja, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, I remember reading it not too long ago, and I kind of forgot about it because, like I said, it hasn't got a lot of traction, but it's from an anime studio that's doing it. That's worked on some other anime series, so I don't think you're going to get your wish, Dane. It's still going to continue. So, yeah, the more I hear about that, or once we get a trailer, we gotta see how it's going to turn out because I totally forgot about that until you said anime and realized, oh wait, it is still going to continue in some form. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. But that's it for Jordan's email. As always, Jordan, thank you for sending in your thoughts and questions. And also, I should say too, I'm going to be a guest on Jordan's our new podcast, Multiverse Musings. I'm going to, as we're recording this episode, I'm going to be on his next show tomorrow.
What?
So we're going to be.
Where's my invite, Jordan?
Well, here's the thing, Dane. We're going to be talking about the Suicide Squad movie. So
I can be on it.
I think Jordan knows you're not the biggest fan of it.
I can lie.
Yeah, you could be the Two-Face. Hate it on our show, love it on Jordan's show.
You know what? We're not going to read Jordan's emails anymore until I get an invite onto his show.
You hear that, Jordan? You've been put on notice by Dane. Better start planning. But yeah, but it should be a lot of fun being on Jordan's show. So look forward to that.
Yeah,
I have listened to Jordan's episodes, and I gotta say, I guess the more that I listened to his podcast and seen some of his YouTube videos, him and me have a similar laugh. When I heard it, I was like, what? That kind of sounds like my laugh. And I'm sorry to say, Jordan, I know I don't have a great laugh, so I apologize that we kind of have a similar laugh. But hey, I guess it could be, more like a high-pitched, squeal, annoying laugh that I could get under your skin. But at least it's not that. But I just noticed ours is kind of similar.
Oh, I see.
So you'll be getting, double like vocal tones, I guess, when you hear me on his podcast talking about Suicide Squad. Hopefully it won't get too confusing for listeners. But that's going to do it for our listener feedback, and we can go ahead and get into our comic book reviews. And as always, we're going to go into spoilers on our reviews here. So if you haven't read your books, you might want to hold off, read them, then come back and hear what we have to say. But for this episode, it's going to be Detective Comics 967 and Batman issues 34, or I should say 33 and 34. So for our rating scale, Dean, I'm thinking it has to be something with Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
After spending so much time talking about it.
How about yeah, I don't know, Tim.
How about yeah, see, this has to be someone with Kevin Costner, but what could it be? Or how about actors that had more of a British accent than Kevin Costner did while playing Robin Hood?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's it. We'll go with that one. So first up is going to be Batman Detective Comics number 967. This one's continuing the Lonely Place of Living story arc. And I love the introduction to this issue where it's Batman looking at Tim Drake's desk, going over it, trying to figure out what he missed, knowing that he's still alive and out there somewhere. And Alfred comes down, telling me he needs some sleep. And I just love the frustration that Batman's showing here. Knowing that he's out there and he can't find him. He even says, like, I'm called the greatest detective on the planet, but I'm not showing it right here. I can't figure out where he's at. They're just showing the frustration and the concern he had for Tim. I just thought was really well done in this beginning sequence here. But then Alfred gets an alert on the back computer and its map saying that Tim's beacon has been activated since he was brought back in the last issue. So Batman goes to that spot to try to find him. But Tim's already being rushed into a hospital after being shocked by the future Tim. And he's, they're saying he's about to go into cardiac arrest. So they bring the charge paddles, try to revive him. Then Bruce just walks in right pretty much after they get him back and just saying, it tells everyone to leave the room. And then you get a nice, reunion with Tim and Bruce here as Batman goes over to hug him and just saying he's sorry that he couldn't find him and knowing that he was still alive. But, Tim says it's okay and already wants to get back to work knowing there's a bigger threat out there. And so then we get his reunion with the rest of the Bat family here. And one critique I have here, I guess, I was hoping for a little, more of a reaction or reunion with the other team, knowing how close they were in those early issues. But it was nice, but just a little too short. It's like only one page, and just Tim hugging Cassandra, saying he missed her, and then everyone else in the background, and kind of getting reacquainted with Luke since he joined up after he left. And then he's asking, he's telling them the plan of future Tim, saying he's here to kill Batwoman and what they need to do to prevent it. And he's saying, oh, maybe we should wait for Spoiler to get here. Like, where is she? And he obviously hasn't been told of what transpired with Spoiler leaving the team. So then the next page is following Spoiler heading back to her hideout. And this is an awesome splash page of her swinging over the Gotham skies in her costume. I said it before, but she has one of the coolest costumes. And it's on full display here on this one splash page with her swinging in the night sky with the moon in the background. This is really, really a cool shot. But as she goes back, takes her helmet off, future Tim is hiding in the shadows. All he says is, "I'm sorry, Stephanie. I should have listened, but I'll put things right." And she's like just shocked. She knows, like, he's in the Batman costume, but you can kind of tell she knows that wasn't the Batman, the Bruce Batman there. She's just taken full on surprise that someone was there. So Tim lays out his plan to, try to trap his future self. He has Batwoman locked up in a cell, thinking that Batman will try to come from him. And, he has Azrael, Clayface, and Cassandra, ready to take him down once he gets there. And one little fun sequence here I thought was kind of funny, where he calls the team the Gotham Knights, and he's like, "Oh, did I not say that out loud? That's what I've been calling us in my head this whole time," because everyone questioned, like, "Are we called the Gotham Knights now or something?" And he goes, "Yeah, I thought I said that before." But they go, "What do you call yourselves?" And Batwoman's all, "We're just called the team." He's all, "Really?" Like, I even brought in a round table. Of course, we're going to have Knights as part of our name. So hopefully the name Gotham Knights will stick for this team, because that's always a great theme to have, or a title to have for a team. And maybe we're a little biased because we got our podcast starts on the Gotham Knights website. So it'd be nice if they brought that name back into this. So as Tim and Bruce have a little conversation, they start trying to wonder, if the future Tim's going to come here. But then they realize, if you were back in the world that you held on to for so long and is better than the one that you have in the future, like, wouldn't you want to go back to the place where everything, was so well, and like the memories that you have? And it then transitions to Wayne Manor, where future Tim sees Alfred. And this was a nice moment here. Tim just takes off the cowl of Batman, sees Alfred, and is like saying how good it is to see him. He gives him a hug, and he doesn't beat around the bush either as far as, trying to hide who he really is. He tells him, like, "No, I'm Tim from the future, and, I have the burden of wearing the cowl." And Alfred feels sorry for him, saying, like, "I never thought that you would be the one to have that burden." And then Tim's kind of questioning himself, like, to go through what he has to do with killing Batwoman. He's asked Alfred for advice, like saying, if there was something that could set me free from this burden and a terrible reality that awaits me, like, should I do it? And then Alfred kind of questions him, like, well, what are you planning to do? But then the rest of the team shows up, or the other Robins, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Damian are all there to take him down. And what's cool about this sequence is we've heard in the past in other stories how in the future Tim could be like the ultimate Batman with his smarts and the training that he does. It was on display here, and he even tells them, I've been training for 15 years, like mastering each of your different fighting styles. I could easily take you out, which he does. And unfortunately, we don't see it. We just see it the next panel sequence where Batman and the other Bat team or Batman and Tim are in the Batcave, and Tim just, sends Red Hood, Nightwing, and Robin just crashing down through there, easily taking him out, but we don't see it, which was unfortunate. But then the future Tim reveals that he's not actually here just for sentimental value. This is all part of his plan, because he reveals that the Bat computer is connected to the program that, really changed the future and made it a worse place. And Bruce knows what he's talking about. He goes, "No." And Jason just asks, like, "What are you hiding here? Like, what did you build?" And Tim just goes, "Let me show you." He goes, "Activate a brother eye." Then we just get this cool page to close out the issue with Tim sitting down on the Bat computer and the brother eye logo. But it's a really cool pose of Tim in the dark, in his Batman cowl in the dark, with a cool lens, white eyes coming out of the shadows. It's just very visually, just an awesome shot of Batman. So another solid issue. I just like the story that they're telling with Tim in the future, and then Tim being reunited here with the rest of the team. And just curious to see what's going to happen to future Tim? How is it going to be resolved? Is he, going to go back to the future still as the evil version of Batman? Is he going to redeem himself? Is he going to sacrifice himself in some way? So it's going to be interesting to see where it all plays out. But this was another solid issue. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 actors who had more of a British accent than Kevin Costner did in Robin Hood.
I think he's going back to the future, Tim.
If it's whether it's going to be in a DeLorean or not, that remains to be seen. But Batman issues 33 and 34, as Jordan indicated, Batman and Catwoman are already off in the desert together. It's like an early honeymoon before the wedding. They're off on this desert trip. And the issue gets off on kind of a somber note as we see Batman handing a shotgun to Catwoman, needing to put down a horse who just couldn't survive the desert heat, which kind of sucked. But I will say visually, this comic starts off really beautifully with the desert landscapes and just showing, how vast it is. And Batman and Catwoman's outfit. Batman's outfit's kind of like the outfit he had in Batman v Superman and the Nightmare sequence, which I really love. So I'm kind of glad to see it's continuing here in the comics. I think it looked really cool. And so, yeah, that stuff, as Jordan mentioned in his email, it's about them searching for someone, and it turns out to be Talia at the end. And reading that at first, I thought, okay, that kind of makes sense, where, Talia is, the mother of Bruce's son. So maybe he's going there to let her know, like, in some way, not get permission from her, but kind of make amends, or just, kind of just tell her what's going on, knowing that he's the mother, or she's the mother of his son, and now he's marrying Selena Kyle. But that wasn't the case, and I'll get to that in the next issue. But I did really love the moments here with, the rest of the Bat family, with Dick, Damian, Jason, and Duke, kind of all just sitting on the couch waiting for Alfred. And Alfred tells them, that Bruce is engaged, and they're just all in shock. And Damian actually has a nice moment here where Jason is he's telling Duke, you're the latest Robin. You should have done something. Robin is supposed to, brighten his dark side and prevent him from marrying criminals and villains. But Duke say, hey, I'm the new guy, but I'm not Robin. Damian is. And Damian's all like, it's true. And he starts crying, and he's realizing where Bruce is going, because he's going to a restricted area that's off limits to anyone by the UN and even the Justice League. The Justice League helped with that emotion, and Batman's going there anyway. And Damian starts crying because he goes, I know what he's going there for. It's because, before he marries Catwoman, he has to go see, my mother, and he knows that she is there waiting for him. That's how the issue ends, with it being revealed that Talia is waiting in this temple in the desert. So this was a pretty good issue. I liked more the Robin dynamics between all the different Robins than the Batman and Catwoman stuff, besides looking really good visually from an artistic standpoint. So I'll give this one 3 out of 5 actors who did more of a British accent than Kevin Costner did in Robin Hood. But for issue number 34, this one I thought was a little bit weaker, because it begins, with Batman and Catwoman after, realizing they were there for Talia. They are facing off a bunch of her ninja men who don't have tongues, apparently. Catwoman tried to talk some sense into them. And this is where it's a little hit and miss for me. Some of Batman and Catwoman's dialogue, some of it was fun and good, and some of it was kind of eye-rolling, I gotta say. It's kind of like the two married couple, like, fighting together, having, like, the typical dialogue or interaction that a married couple will have. It is kind of like, I don't know if that worked too much. Like, there was a moment where Batman just tells Catwoman, have I told you how good you looked lately, or something like that, as in the middle of a fight. It just felt like too much of a cliche you see in, like, action movies or comic stories, where, like, two characters who are love interests for each other having that type of dialogue while they're fighting their enemies. Just, it didn't work for me all the way. But the best part, again, in the story, it continues to be the interactions between the other Robins. This time, Dick and Damian actually go to the desert to try to find Selena and Bruce. But, Superman's there preventing the entrance to her because he knows it's off limits. And in the first issue, he was actually called Alfred, asking where Bruce is, knowing that someone has ventured in there, not realizing it was Bruce himself. So Superman goes there to see Damian and Dick and tries to stop them from venturing in, but he has to leave because there's an alien invasion in Central City, and he just takes off. But my favorite part here is the interaction that Damian and Dick have as Superman leaves. Damian realizes he can't go through that temple. He has to wait. And then Dick goes, I'll wait with you as well. And then Damian just says thanks to Dick, saying, you came with me when the others would not. And I just love Dick's response, says, you and me, kiddo, from the beginning all the way to the end. Just harking back to those early Batman and Robin days from Grant Morrison's run, and just how awesome Dick and Damian's dynamic was. And I'm just glad that their bond and their relationships continuing this far along after that story arc. So I love seeing that here. So Batman and Catwoman take down all those ninjas, but they're exhausted. And that's when Talia comes in to face Batman, because that was the whole point. She wanted to get him tired so she can beat him. But here's the thing where I'm not too sure on. The reason they're there to see Talia is because Batman tells her they're here for Holly Robinson. And we know we got the reveal in earlier issues with Tom King's run for Batman and Catwoman. She's the one who killed those 237 people that Catwoman took the blame on. And she left Gotham. And now I guess Bruce and Selina tracked her down here. And that's why they're here. I guess more it's for on Selina's end to kind of put closure on this thing. So I don't know what they're going to do when they find Holly Robinson, maybe try to bring her in, have her, get justice for those crimes. I'm not sure what they intend to do, but I was kind of hoping, like I said, it was more hinging on Batman and Batman and Talia's relationship. Now that he's marrying Selina, he had to face her in some way to let her know this, but it turns out to be more on Catwoman's end. So wasn't too crazy about that. But the issue ends with Talia taking down Batman because he was so exhausted, but now she has to fight Catwoman, and that's where the issues end. So this one was just okay. I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 British actors who had a British accent more than Kevin Costner did in the Robin Hood movie. So there's only one more issue in the short story arc, so we'll see how it wraps up. But yeah, it's just okay.
All right, so I guess that's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right, just go over to BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, and at Batman Universe on Twitter. The show's Twitter handle is at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handle is at TimG311. And my
Back
Twitter
to the 311s.
Yep. My Twitter handle is at Dane Says Banana. Well, I've said it like at TimG311, and it doesn't sound right.
That's true. You have been, nice to me on the last few episodes. So,
our Twitter, not our Twitter handle. If you want to email the show, you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, what do we say at the end of every single episode, Tim?
We love each and every one of you with all of our bad hearts.
Bad hearts. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody, for Justice League.